right.
Welcome back.
Welcome to the Real Estate X podcasts.
Podcast.
Podcast.
I feel like we say podcasts sometimes.
I don't know.
We haven't
played the music in a while, so.
Yeah. That was for you guys.
Thank you.
And our listeners. Thank you for listening.
Gets me in the mood.
Yeah.
Good.
Pump you up.
Yeah.
Mark, you have a interesting post that someone wrote on LinkedIn that you...
Shout out Spencer Barber, who is a developing residential real estate in Illinois. He posted, "If I could change one thing about my career as a real estate developer, I would have built a business with recurring monthly income first. For a decade, I've relied on large paydays that fund my life for years while I work on the next deal. It works on a spreadsheet, but it creates psychological pressure. It's also far less resilient than having a business with steady income that can weather those market cycles."
A lot of truths to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have some rentals. We have some rentals. Kind of agree that it does help you not feel like you got to be on that hamster wheel going from project to project.
I don't think it's rentals though, because you have to. It's like that. I don't amass those rentals.
The challenge with rentals is once you push those chips into the table, it's like, you're getting return on them, but like you need another big, massive
You have to have chips to start.
to keep playing the game. Like you're going to have to wait for the other players to keep moving around the board for a while.
Or you have to amass a significant amount of capital to acquire a certain number of rentals that can cash flow enough that essentially will be.
Yeah, I mean, I think timing was fortunate in my career, whereby like I started in real estate development, like coming out of the Great Recession. It's like 2010, 2012.
Yeah.
And so like the first property I bought was a single family in South Boston for $275,000, which I still own. So that rents for $4,500 a month.
Right. That's like the,
The boomers.
Yeah.
We were very lucky now.
And that was it. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So the BRRRR method I was doing without knowing what BRRRR was buy, renovate, refinance,
rinse, repeat. I don't know.
Yeah. So like I did it. I was like, and then I had a bunch of equity because the market was also ticking at 12 or 15% a year.
Well, you've had a very unique experience because you've taken advantage of the tax code, which allows you every 2 years to sell your primary residence, keep a chunk of that equity or the capital gains and not be taxed on it. So you've sort of been snowballing and parlaying over a couple years.
Yeah. So it's the homeowner exemption.
Yeah.
And 2 of 5, if you've lived somewhere for 2 of 5 years, you and your spouse are entitled to $250,000 each to do what you will with. A lot of people think that means like kind exchange. It's not. You can bury it in your backyard if you want, put it under your mattress.
Right. There's no requirement to roll it in like a 1031 would.
So that is helpful because otherwise, you're taxed as ordinary income as a developer. But kind of getting away from the idea of like, so yeah, it's great if you can do rentals, but like it's pretty tough to do rentals. It's sort of like a chicken and egg problem again. So like, what are you going to do that's going to build some sort of steady income to help balance out those massive dips and peaks and valleys that are typical in our cash flows as real estate developers? And I think some people are real estate sales agents. That's certainly effective. Personally,
But being a real estate sales agent, or even being in the real estate industry in general, doesn't help weather those peaks or the valleys.
Yeah.
The storm when there's a down market. Right? If
I
you're
mean,
a real estate agent in a down market, you're not.
look, I mean, you should probably invest in umbrellas and sunscreen so that like if it's raining, you're still good. And to your point, like I think all of these verticals are highly correlated to one another. So if you are a real estate salesperson and your development business is struggling, you're probably not selling a lot of homes either. And like, okay, I do development consulting and I do owner's rep work. That business isn't available to me unless I'm a successful developer, though. So it's not like you can be 23 and be like, I'm available for consulting services to assist you in your next development. Like no one's hiring you. So we continue down, like what is it that you do? My answer is a GC. My answer is learn construction. It's not quick riches here. It's a lot of work. But like, what better skill set could you have as a real estate developer than to understand construction? It's something that when you are 23 with a lot of hustle and grit and access to AI and all the technology and tools, take that moment in your life where you don't have a wife and kids to get home to and you can grind 12, 14-hour days and learn that part of the business. That's my...
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I also think keeping the W-2 job while it might not be sexy, it's incredibly valuable from not only steady stream of income, but incredible in terms of being able to qualify for loans, being able to prove income to lenders. It helps you weather those storms if you are in an industry that is not real estate.
Right.
Health insurance.
And I don't think we've come across too many people who have also rapidly scaled and found success. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody that may listen to this or know anybody, but the problem when someone tries to do something like that with all the best intentions of, hey, I did one project and it was great. Now I want to do, 5 more. You still are going to make mistakes. And if you make that mistake 5 times, it's going to hurt 5 times as much, or could just essentially sink your ship. We've had that analogy before. So it is tough figuring out when to be on the hamster wheel, when not to be on the hamster wheel, when to put your chips into a certain deal. That's the other side of real estate that you can't control. You can't control the market, when a good deal comes across or when you come across it. There's no magic formula, but you'll know it when you see it and underwrite it, is the way I like to think of it.
Yeah. I think the original sin for a real estate developer is having no money, no cash, illiquid. And there's some talk out there of we need to help, disadvantaged folks of low income become real estate developers too. I support that goal 1,000%. I'm here for it, but not when you're 22 years old, not when you haven't amassed anything to risk of your own yet. Unfortunately, real estate development is a capital intensive business. And if you're constantly, like, even if you source a deal and you have people who will put money into it, if you don't have a few of your own dollars to also invest in the thing, it's like building a company for everybody else. Like, great, you just made that guy, and that guy money. And how much did you make? And if you never have chips, then what do you... Yeah. So it's just not realistic.
Psychologically, when you have your own capital at stake, I just feel that there's just that much more. I don't know. You won't take as many risks. You will fire on the purse strings.
Of course,
you're more motivated. 100%.
You will execute better.
Or when you have your own capital at risk.
And
it could be, like you said, with others, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would never invest in a deal, someone else's deal, if they had no skin in the game.
Yeah. Well, what if they don't have any skin?
Or no experience.
Which is to say, or no experience. And look, I think it's politically expedient. It's a great soundbite to say, like, we want to let young people be real estate developers who, it's not fair that, like, you have a lot of resources and you can be a real estate developer because you've amassed cash or whatever it wants to be. We want people who haven't yet to be, and it's like, it doesn't work. It sounds good. I wish that could be the case. I meet with young guys who are really aspiring or women, and like, I'm here to help. But the truth of the matter is, like, you have to do something else for a decent amount of time or inherit a bunch of money.
I was going to say,
like,
you could have the trust fund.
It's a pretty tried and
scenario.
True. Yeah, but like,
you need experience, and to get that experience, you need to work for somebody, and by working for somebody, maybe you can save some money and then invest in your first deal. But you can't just expect to just jump into the game. Nothing.
Yeah. You'll just chase your tail and spin that hamster wheel faster and faster without going anywhere. But so again, like we talked, construction, maybe real estate sales, property management, like these are the typical verticals. I like to make an analogy, we've used this often, is like the real estate developers, like the movie producer, right? You source the script, you buy the script, you hire the director, the actors, and if the film makes money, you do great. If the film bombs, it's really your loss, and you raise money to make the movie. But like, unless you have a trust fund, you have to be one of those things, like a great actor, a director, something.
This world,
Yeah,
working for a lender,
yeah,
working on mortgage underwriting, you could do those types of things too, and be in.
So yeah, so like, which of those roles are you going to specialize in? Those tangential roles to real estate developer, because there isn't a traditional career path.
Yeah.
There isn't a business card or like a degree that you can get that's called like real estate developer.
No, it's either born through family inheritance, right? So like, oh, my parents did this and now I'm learning the business, or you go out on your own like we did, and we just kind of started taking risks and growing it from a little snowball. What was the
You had?
Yeah.
Yeah, very different things. I know you're the IT nerd. I went to business.
Can I be honest? If you've ever seen the movie Blow with Johnny Depp, there's a scene in the movie where he says something to the effect of like, I went into prison with an undergraduate degree in marijuana and I came out with a doctorate degree in like, cocaine. And I worked at a large established construction company. We did high-rise buildings. What I learned in that seat, in that job, was not at all related.
I was going to say, how does that translate to like 2 and 4 unit buildings, right?
It doesn't. But it was just a network of guys there, like almost who were somewhat entrepreneurial, liked construction, and it just gave you, like, you're familiar with a feather in Dumbo's cap that makes him believe he can fly. Like, it was enough to make me think that I could buy this piece of garbage house for $275,000 and with my own hands and a couple friends, like, fix the whole thing up for $85,000, right? And we did. And that's kind of crazy, but that's what the diploma and the years in that place was, the network and the confidence. But I'm not going to tell you that like what I learned sitting in that seat really relates to
you learned what it takes to construct a building, but you didn't necessarily learn what it took to underwrite it necessarily.
No, I mean,
and how that could scale down.
It could.
Of building, like you could do a lot from a PM standpoint, a super standpoint.
Right.
That is your strong suit.
Well, let me ask you this: when you first started, because I don't know if I've ever asked, is what was your specific role? Were you like a project manager, or were you in a specific niche area, and then that kind of moved and changed over the years?
Mostly pre-construction and estimating.
Okay.
So like my thesis was like,
so you weren't even seeing boots on the ground initially.
I did. I spent a year in the field, a year in project management, and then I was in estimating. Okay. And that's where I kind of like decided that like I'd like to focus my attention, and with the premise that like you can do anything with time and money. So like, how much is it going to,
Right.
So
eventually all deals make sense over time. Yes.
Eventually, but moreover, like, sure, you can add 3 stories and dig out the basement and add a garage down there. Like, it's possible. And like, I think what makes a good developer from a shitty one is the good developer looks at that and goes, that's a terrible idea. Like, of course you can draw it, but why would you?
Right.
Whereas if like, hey, just by doing that, you're going to trigger ADA, and now you're going to need an elevator, and that's 280, so
right.
The numbers, but those numbers don't tie at all to what we do. A high-rise building with union construction relative to like small infill multifamily.
Right.
But I think what it gives you is a filing cabinet, if nothing else. I'll argue against myself. It's like a way to organize information as you learn it that comes in, so that you have a resume. Great
right.
contacts. Like, it's like people to trade, baseball cards with. Yeah. In our world, that's
right. Even not having that direct experience, you still have a significant leg up just with the exposure and kind of knowing just terminology, because there's nothing I'm sure a sub loves more, like just walking around with some green guy like, my first house I ever bought, I want to do this, and like, oh boy, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I still probably pissed off a lot of subs because, I was learning on their dime in many respects. When the plumber says to you, like, all right, I'm going to need the valve for the shower, and your eyes are just like staring like, what valve? I bought a shower head. Is that what you mean?
Or you get a valve with a diverter and it's no diverter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So,
That's all right.
that's tough. Like those sort of things. I'd like to think one of the reasons that like we collectively have been successful in developments and specifically the construction part is like, we know what we want and we're decisive and there isn't a lot of friction or delay, which allows the subs to get in and get out. The only way to make money for any of us is to execute. Electrician,
Correct.
Developer, plumber, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like jobs that take 3 years that should have taken 11 months. I don't need a spreadsheet. That deal sucks for everyone involved.
Right. There's no benefit. And I mean, we've seen it on jobs. I mean, we had a sub that the guy on site, the super or whoever he was, the head person in charge, so slow. And for whatever reason, the company just allowed it to keep going on forever. And it messed with our timeline, messed with their profitability. So it's, like you said, it's no win for anybody. So getting back to the original thesis of the LinkedIn post is, when do you go from, how do you get to that passive income when you start from nothing, right?
Yeah.
You have to do projects. You have to do something to get there. So knowing when to put the chips in, where to put them in, it's also location specific. I mean, we're in Boston and it's an urban area. You're not going to find a lot of single families. Other places like Ohio, that's all they have are single families, except for like downtown clusters. So everybody's strategy is going to be a little different also. There's a guy on TikTok. I haven't seen him too much more. He's like the Section 8 guy. He just loved bragging about how much money he was making off Section 8 single family rentals. So good for him, right?
Yeah.
Like he did well. There's no magic code. It's going to depend on where you live, what housing costs, what labor costs, and what you know and what you're willing to learn.
There's an old Yiddish saying, to a worm in horseradish, the world is horseradish. And, I bring that up to say, like, to me, everything is like, oh, well, be in construction, learn construction, and then buy a single family. Like I did, like that was an unlock for me personally. And the unlock is that when you're buying something for yourself, not as an investor, your rates are much more attractive. Your down payment is much lower. You need a roof over your head. You're 20, whatever years old, hopefully. You're not, you don't have handcuffs on yet. You don't have the stress. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so go sleep next to the boiler in the basement while you got the kitchen upstairs, shower in your gym. Like, everybody's got to lay in the dirt at some point, unless you have a trust fund, which God bless you if you do. But,
Well, how about this? We've never really talked about this. Let's say you've got a bunch of chips.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to deal with the stress, the uncertainty. You don't know enough about it. Maybe you never want to actually get into real estate, but you do want that passive income. Why not just invest in a REIT or become a lender to another developer?
I invest in RD Advisors. They do private lending.
Yeah.
I mean, that's yeah.
Or not to be so concentrated, literally a REIT in the stock market probably pays anywhere between 3% and 6%, unless you can get something, when the market has a dip. But there's plenty of those out there, and they're large diversified operators, or they're specialized in one or two areas. I'm not saying don't invest in real estate, but for people who just can't get off the sideline, that might be a better option.
Yeah.
Those are pretty low returns, so
someone wants to. I mean, relative to like being an LP,
you get the appreciation and the a REIT has to pay out 90% of what it brings in, so there's going to be distributions. That's what allows them to have that status.
We're gonna end up getting sued for this somehow.
This is not fine.
This is
check with your financial advisor.
It's like. The technical terms about a REIT investment.
What I'm saying, listen, there's no controversy to that statement. They have to pay out 90%.
I'm just teasing you. Right?
So
it's so easy.
But for any of the digital lawyers out there looking to come after me, yeah.
That was Ray Hurto, RH Investment Group. Choose Boston has no affiliation with the prior statements.
Is that not an option that you'd recommend to somebody, especially if they just?
I mean, sure, own stocks, own bonds, own REITs, have a diversified portfolio. But yeah,
Be able to drive down the street and be like, I invested in that.
Well, only if you made money on it.
I mean, the flip side is like if that building is the one that never gets finished, like you lost all your money.
Right.
So that's why
your trip.
You're saying that if someone doesn't want to get their hands dirty, they can obviously be in.
Yeah.
They don't have to be a GP.
No,
or
right,
if they can't find something, it's not working. It's like
Whatever.
They've got the chips. They don't know where to get started. Maybe put them in there temporarily while you're looking for something else. Again, it's what are my options or partner and learn from them.
Good deal. Then the deal is a deal. If there's enough meat on the bone, then go to someone and say, hey, I found this deal. I have a bunch of chips. I don't have the experience that I want to learn.
Right. Just make sure you do your due diligence and all disclaimers for that.
That's an option as well, right? I think there's so many creative ways that you can get into real estate. But I think from the gentleman that posted at the beginning, you can't get into the game, or we would not advise anyone to get into the game with nothing.
Yeah,
it'd be impossible.
Well, I mean,
you could over lever, you could borrow other people's money. Yes, I hear you, but I guess who are those people investing? I'll take their money if they have that much. Right.
Yeah.
If they have that much confidence in someone with no experience.
You're not wrong that like it's harder today than that was 5-6 years ago when money was free and everyone was just like fat and happy. But we have friends.
Gurus out there.
Yeah.
Saying they're preaching.
I know.
You don't have to get into real estate.
No money. I know.
That's usually like wholesales or something where it's still low.
I mean, they'll tell
risk.
you can flip a house, have $1. But yeah, no, that's not real. And if it is, and you can get into that deal, I think the other thing I like to caution people is like, don't buy yourself a job, right? Like I know what I could make as a salaried employee in the market. I don't need to sign a personal guarantee to collect that much money and have health insurance.
You're not taking the risk.
There are so many guys that I see do a deal where I'm like, wow, you just made $125,000 on that project. It took you a year and a half. You could have had a job like that. What do you don't do that?
And you could have, like you said, you could have insurance. They could be doing 401k.
Yeah.
So many benefits by having a W-2 job.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a happiness factor too. And someone corrected me on this last night. They cited some study and I should look it up, but it was basically like, even if you're making the exact same amount of money, but you're working for yourself, you're 2 times as happy.
Right. You definitely have some flexibility. You don't have a boss to necessarily report up to.
To which I said, yeah, that assumes like you're making money. I don't think I'm 2 times happier if I'm like, going into personal bankruptcy because I signed a PG.
All right. Well, let's not be depressing. So there are ways. There's a lot of ways to take some chips, and like you said, don't start with no chips. So if you have no chips, then don't invest in real estate.
Well, I think the overarching theme here is be patient. There is not a get rich quick. Yeah. If you're trying to get in the game and you just want to like instantly be on the board and have a few monopoly houses, like no, you have to get there.
Would you recommend any kind of like apprenticeship type things for people who want exposure to real estate and learn, and maybe they can kind of help out within the trades?
Maybe within the trades, yeah. And certainly, like I think being in the trades, learning electrical, plumbing, what have you, or just it's also kind of hard just to go straight into being a GC. So yeah, if you can learn one trade and like see all the others, that is effective. I'll tell you what's not effective, in my humble opinion, is like following someone, shadowing someone who's a developer. Like I've had this offer come up, I'm sure you do too, like, hey, can I just check in with you at the project once every other week and see what's changed and what's transpired, and we can walk the building and point at things and talk. It's like, that's not really gonna.
Yeah.
The only thing that you might get out of that is, again, the feather in Dumbo's hat, the like belief that you can do it. But like, unless you're living it, I don't.
And they're like that 1 hour a week that you're on the job.
No, there's no osmosis here. You don't just like get to absorb it by having stood out there. Yeah.
That those 7 days that you're doing all this other stuff specific to that project.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How many phone calls are you making to make sure guys show up on time and materials arrive or fixing things?
Contracts. Finished materials you buying, how many design questions you're answering, how many meetings with architects and designers and agents. It's just the amount of shit that you do that doesn't require you to be on site for a specific project is way more time consuming.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone will get anything by this.
Yeah. So, I guess one more thing to offer is that the benefit of a paid something that evens out those cash flows is that it lets you have more optionality of when you enter the market. So you don't feel like there's a gun to your head where you have to take a deal. I know I got to keep the beast fed here. It's like, look, I have rentals, I have this income over there. Like, yeah, I'd like to do a development. Those are typically the like extra base plays. But shit, I got a nice stand-up double and the market's kind of funny right now. So like, terrific.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And this guy last night, really successful developer, rode the wave in East Boston. To his credit, saw sort of the vision for that neighborhood, invested in it early, invested over and over again, sold his portfolio. But I love that he led last night with, when I met him, how many days skiing did you get this year? And, skiing, golf, fill in whatever you want, fishing, but like, what's it all for? I think that is like an important part of the mindset. And I appreciate that about him is that like, he was kind of big into that. Yeah. Yeah. But like he worked really, really hard and
very intense.
And he can,
then jumped off the hamster wheel, realized maybe, family and life was important. I mean, that's where we dream to be, right? That's kind of the goal. That's the vision, is that you don't have to work anymore. Now it's totally optional.
But like, I totally, it's like, I think I wanted to be a lifty, out west out of college. I was like, I'll just take a couple of years. It'll be all like, no, like you haven't done anything, or like, God bless you if you're doing that. I actually really kind of am jealous in many respects.
Yeah. But you're trading. Everything's a trade. Everything is literally a trade.
But it's harder.
People that know that graduated and was like, I think I'm going to travel for the next year or something. I'm going to take the next year or two off.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yes, you're seeing the world. You're getting regular experiences, but it's like you're delaying things. Now, like, where does that land you back?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right. I don't know if I'd rather have that in the front end.
I listened to somebody.
Youth is wasted on the young.
I listened to somebody her theory was work really hard for 5 years and then take 6 months off to celebrate your accomplishments. I don't think there's anything wrong to say about that if you're able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then 5 more years hard. I mean, the other thing is like, how often should you change your career? Like, do you want to be focused in one aspect of real estate or real estate altogether? Or do you take your chips off the plate and put it somewhere else? Like, if you have enough chips and you can just put it into something that, it's less risk. You're not ripping your hair out every day and you get enough cash flow off of it. Let's say it's a REIT or some other investment passively. What's wrong with that at some point, right? You can always pull your chips back out and put them back on the table again if you want.
As long as you're happy.
Right.
Everything fucking matters with you.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the adrenaline rush of it. I like my phone ringing. I like to be super busy.
You like talking to Boston transportation and towing cars?
In some respects. But I guess it matters how you derive happiness. Yeah. Like some people are really good with just like, a margarita and a pool float and that's 8 hours of their day and that's great.
Yeah.
Like
probably gets old after a while.
I'd like to move more towards that. I'm trying.
The other thing is like,
who's your brag, buddy?
The other thing is like, who's your friend group once that happens, right? Right now we've got all of the guys that we know or that are the same boat as us, more or less. And then if you were to take your chips off, or you were able to take the chips off and just kind of unofficially retire, is it going to be the same? You're probably going to end up in different circles at some point. I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're kind of going.
I don't want to be depressing
which
about
I started.
I hope I'm not being depressing about this.
No.
Oh, okay.
Legitimate question from someone.
Yeah.
That it would be cool to answer more questions or get our views on certain.
I think we would like to have sort of a viewer, we answer your questions, like an AMA almost, right? So anybody looking to submit questions that you may have, anything related to real estate or even just your career, just send us DM, comment, whatever. We watch it all. Yeah. We'll be
Slide
listening.
into Dan's DMs. Thanks everyone for rating, reviewing, listening. Can't thank you enough, really. If you leave a review, helps the podcast grow, and we appreciate it. See you on the next one.